Now that's what I'm talking about.
Exterminate!
Welcome to Shep Rambles, where I am Shep and I tend to ramble. About what? Anything and everything. And today is the very first time that I managed to get one of my other cats on camera. This is Spice. Oh, it's okay. What, are you camera shy? Oh. Now he's getting angry. Okay. Really? You wanted to come in here and now you're hissing. Oh. And he likes attention too. He just doesn't want to be in front of the camera. All right. Anyway. Now he's rolling on the floor. Cats. Love them. I do have a dog, by the way. So there will be an episode coming up in regards to my dog. So it will be specific about that. But anyway, we're not here to talk about cats and dogs, are we? We're here to talk about Doctor Who. Wow. That was fantastic. It was brilliant. It was awesome. Oh man, that New Year's special was, oh, man, that had to be the high point for the 13th Doctor so far. Absolutely incredible, I thought. I know that there are going to be Doctor Who 13th Doctor haters out there that are still going to find faults with it. Is it perfect? You know, I'm sure there's faults with it, but I mean, seriously. There was a lot to like in this. So they didn't have a Christmas special. So what? You know what? I think this New Year's Day special actually made up for that. That was incredible. That was an incredible episode. I really like the new take on the Dalek. It was still a Dalek, but it was like presented in a whole deadlier fashion. I mean, we already know the Daleks are deadly, but this was even like really deadly. And you have the people who complain about the 13th Doctor saying that it doesn't look like she's very emotional, or you really don't see her get angry or really overly scared about anything. She's just all happy-go-lucky. Not this time. I mean, she still had her happy-go-lucky attitude, but I could see the worry. I could see the fear. I could see some of that anger because of that Dalek. So I thought this was a great episode that helped bring out a little bit more from inside the 13th Doctor. And I thought this was a great episode for Ryan also. A very nice character building episode for him. Yaz, I don't really have a problem with Yaz, but I know people say that she's kind of wooden, and yeah, she kind of is, but she's more like an afterthought, unfortunately. It was nice that they had a couple of episodes that featured her more prominently, but I don't have any attachment with her. I love Graham. Graham is great. Graham to me, it's gotten to the point now where if something happened to him, I would be upset. I really like him. He's a great companion. And Ryan has really grown on me also. So, and that's that's the thing with the characters. You want them to grow with you. You want to feel attached to them, so that way it feels like they're needed. They need to be there. At the moment, I don't feel like Yaz needs to be there. Like, she could not be there and it wouldn't really make any more difference to the story, you know, with the exception of those 2 episodes where it was more centered on her. So I think they need to do a little bit more with her character, because right now she's almost like a sidekick. Graham has definitely got the companion role. I mean, without a shadow of a doubt. I love his older mentality towards things, and then Ryan helps balance that. And Yaz is kind of like that third wheel. So we need to bring Yaz into the fold here and do some more interesting things with her character, because right now she's kind of stale. But that is an overview of what I thought about Doctor Who Resolution. So what I want to go ahead and do is I'm going to go through the episode. This is where the spoilers are going to come in. All right. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, stop now. You can come back later. I don't want to spoil anything for you, okay? But for those of you who have seen it, continue with me, and we'll go through the episode piece by piece. Okay, so I just want to start off letting you know that there's not going to be any video clips here. These are just screenshots that I took as I rewatched the episode the second time. And we'll go through it piece by piece. And I got to tell you that the soundtrack is still fantastic, in my opinion. It's a whole new tone. It's been like that since the first episode with Jodie Whittaker, and I love it. I hope I can get a hold of the soundtrack. It just has a different feel and a different mood to it. Very different than what we've had in the past. So here, I really liked the open narration. I thought it was great, and it gave me this feeling as though I'm watching an epic movie like Lord of the Rings. Now, I'm not saying that it is Lord of the Rings or you know, compares to the level of Lord of the Rings. It just gave me that feel that I was watching something epic. You know, watching this didn't seem anything that was like Doctor Who, this opening. It felt like something epic, something more than that. So we learn that the Dalek was cut into 3 pieces and buried on opposite sides of the Earth, far apart from each other, except for one piece. That custodian never made it because he was shot down by an arrow from thieves. Now, my problem with this scene is, how come they didn't take that package? I mean, yeah, they, you know, searching him for gold, but, you know, the thieves, wouldn't they just kind of take everything that he has and sort through it later? I mean, who knows what's wrapped in there? So I'm just kind of surprised that it wasn't taken. And plus, he was traveling on a road. So all these years, nobody else saw the package and picked it up? Now, I mean, granted, when we go to the later day, his skeleton and the package he's carrying is still there. So I found it weird that the route he was taken wasn't being was never taken by anyone else. I looked at the scene closely to just see if he was just going across the plains, or if there was some type of, you know, dirt road that looked like it had been traveled before. And it looked to me like a dirt road that had been traveled before. So just surprises me that, you know, through all the centuries that nothing else was ever seen. Now the interesting thing here is when we go from outside to inside, I was wondering, well, how did this turn into an underground dig? But then as I was rewatching the scene and a few times, they explained that they are under the Sheffield Town Hall. So it's an ancient burial site that we're told about later. And there was also a chat here in regards to a kiss that they had, and if that kiss was special. And I know there's going to be people that are going to argue that, well, this is a waste of time, but I think it helps establish a bond between these two, so that way us as the viewer are understanding, okay, these two have a history of some sort between them, and they really care about each other, and they really want to spend time with each other later on. We see here that ultraviolet light is reactivating the Dalek. I'm not sure how or why ultraviolet would have an effect on like this. I mean, it's explained later by the Doctor, but okay, in this scene we are shown how one of the pieces of the Dalek is reacting to the other one being hit by ultraviolet light. And it's in the background. The whole land there will shake, and the statue, monument, whatever that is going to fall over. And in this scene, the second part is also reacting, and then it just transports away. The other piece does the same. Now at this point, I'm wondering why cutting the Dalek into 3 pieces wasn't enough to kill it. So in this scene, all 3 pieces are back together, and the Dalek is alive. It escapes. Now my wife had a problem with this, but we learned later that the Dalek was doing a spatial shift in time. The Daleks have been known to travel through time and space, just like the Time Lords, which is why they are the worst threats in the known universe, even to the Time Lords. I thought the idea of cosmic fireworks was an interesting idea, and something unique for a New Year's special that we wouldn't have seen in any past Christmas episodes. This made me like the New Year's special idea even more. Now I love this scene. You could see that there was a sense of awe and wonder that transcends space and time, and the Doctor was excited to share this. It's unlike anything we've ever seen before. Graham mentions it's the best fireworks show he's ever seen, and I've got to agree. Nothing can compare to cosmic fireworks. And it wasn't just this one. The Doctor showed them 19 different ones in a row. And we get a bit of a quirky history on how Mesopotamia created the first fireworks display. We've seen other types of quirky history lessons from the Doctor before, so this felt in character to me. Here's a scene which I think is completely in character for the Doctor. I can see any of the incarnations doing this same scene. She has an alarm on Earth in case anything bad happens. She notices something bad, but then says it's actually worse. And then it's worse than worse. It all sounds like something any previous Doctor would say. People want to complain that this Doctor doesn't act like the Doctor, but it seems pretty apparent to me that she is. I love this scene. Some very nice symmetry here, and we have a contrast of light and dark. Plus you have an interesting sense of weight with the blue lights on one side and orange on another. Now these are complements to each other, because on the color wheel, red and green are complements, yellow and purple are complements, and blue and orange are complements. I know that's not quite blue, I mean that's kind of like teal, but yeah, as far as the tone, it's pretty much blue and orange. I mean, that's what I see here. I love the use of light and dark here by using lens silhouette. We have an excellent view here of the Dalek itself without its shell. Now we've seen this before, but not spread out like this to where it's very squid-like. This is like something out of a sci-fi horror movie. I also wonder again, how was this divided into 3 parts? I mean, I know you can cut it into 3, but like, what was part 1? What was part 2? What was part 3? Because you got all these tentacles all over the place. So I'm assuming that one part that was excavated was the brain of the Dalek. Now maybe that part was cut in half. I don't know, but the fact that the UV light was shown on it and reactivated. I mean, I don't think any other part would have been reactivated, but maybe the main part, when that was brought alive, it was able to do a spatial shift to bring the rest of the parts together. Now, of course, it was predictable that the Dalek would be gone by the time the Doctor and her best friends get there to take a look. Now, I like the term best friends. It shows how much more important these companions are. They are friends. They're just not traveling companions and, you know, disposable like red shirts are on a Star Trek episode. Now, I love this scene. You've got an interesting theme of red and white here, and I love the 3-point perspective that's going on. You've got each figure on either side creating balance. Now, one problem I have here in regards to the script is their conversation gone up to this point. I'm surprised that during that walk up to here, she didn't ask Mitch who were those people. And if she had, Mitch might have said, oh, well, one of them is a doctor. And that could have alerted the Dalek right there. But I'm also assuming the Dalek hasn't taken full control of her yet. At least it didn't look like it had. Now, at this point, I knew she was already in control by the Dalek in some fashion. I thought it possibly possessed her by, going inside of her, kind of like a Goa'uld from the movie Stargate and the show Stargate SG-1. I think this was a giveaway that they could have shown later. I thought the Dalek escaped through the sewers originally, so I would have liked not knowing about this possession until a little later. I think it's funny that the Doctor makes these faces. Too bad the Doctor Who haters use these for their thumbnails. Anyway, Graham wasn't happy that the Doctor landed her TARDIS on his chair. I thought this was a little funny since the Doctor said, well, if you wouldn't leave them laying around all over the place. Poor Graham. The doorbell rings and the Doctor is wondering whose intruder alert signal it is. I thought this was a cute scene. Graham answers the door and says, nope, and shuts it, which I thought was kind of funny. I figured it was a salesman of some sort, but, it was going to be important somehow. And yeah, it was important. We learned that it's Ryan's dad, Aaron. So he's introduced to the Doctor and her friends, and you've got to like how the Doctor is always straightforward with stuff. This is totally in character, because the other ones would have done the same thing. She said he let Ryan down because he didn't show up for Grace's funeral. Of course, that caught him off guard. You gotta love Graham because he nodded in approval that the Doctor just upright and said what they all wish they could have said themselves. Graham explains that Ryan's been through a lot. Aaron says he knows. But I loved when Graham said, no, you have no idea. Yeah, Ryan's been through time and space. Nobody would expect that. I really love Graham more than ever with this scene because he shows how much he really cares for the boy, and he says that Aaron hasn't done enough. He hasn't been there like he should have been. I love how they established the Gramps-son relationship by this point from the previous episode. It was a nice setup for this moment. Here, we finally see that the Dalek has control over Lynn. Some don't like this as they say Daleks have never been able to do this. I say, why not? They can control a bloody machine, so why not an actual life form? This makes the Dalek even more dangerous, in my opinion. I thought it was a nice new take on the Dalek. It can still be threatening even without its metal shell. Also, this reminds me of the dark creature that took over Emperor Orlando in the 5th year of the show Babylon 5. The Dalek explains that he's the pilot now. another nice addition showing that he can control just about anything, life forms and machines. That to me sounds like the ultimate threat of the universe. The Doctor has analyzed the ooze that was on the sewer wall and learns that it was a Dalek. For all of those that say the Doctor is bright and cheerful and never shows any other emotion, well, here you go. The Doctor is worried and quite scared. She knows how threatening a Dalek is, especially because of the Time War. The Doctor explains what a Dalek is, and it sounds more menacing the way she describes it. I love how the camera is off at an angle because it shows that things are not okay, and you could see that the Doctor has been caught off balance in a way. We then see this Doctor frustrated because she can never be rid of the Daleks. Another thing I can throw into the face of the naysayers of this Doctor. This Doctor can be scared, frustrated, and angry. She's not always bright and cheerful, especially now. She even gets very serious by explaining that it only takes one Dalek to rain destruction. It might be defeated, as it was in ancient times, by armies of soldiers, but it will kill many on its path by then. Again, the music is wonderful at this point. The Doctor can't even figure out how the Dalek is getting around, which is why I like this new take on the Dalek. It's an ability the Daleks have always had, but we've never seen it used. It's something new that we can learn about this enemy, and I think it really freshens things up a bit. The Daleks don't seem like silly salt and pepper shakers with plungers anymore. In this scene, after Lynn is pulled over for speeding, we see that the Dalek can still be very deadly without its casing. He kills the two cops with ease. Makes sense with those tentacles. Doesn't seem out of place for a Dalek to be able to strangle a person and kill them. Sorry guys, this is just a kick-ass scene. The Daleks just seem pretty deadly to me now. I love this new development. We're at the cafe where we get some character interaction development between Ryan and his dad. I think this was important to help build Ryan up more, but it also seemed a little longer than necessary. But I still liked it, especially when his dad explained that even parents can make mistakes. I still thought this scene was good for Ryan, and it made me appreciate and like Ryan more. This is a great character arc for him. Also, with the microwave, it was pretty obvious that we would see this used again in the story. I'm okay with this. At least they didn't come up with a microwave solution with no setup beforehand. I love this scene when Mitch enters the TARDIS. For the first time that I can remember, we see the TARDIS enter the time vortex, and you can see it outside the window. You can also clearly see three sides of the police box, while the fourth is the one that leads into the internal dimensions of the TARDIS itself. There's a nice feeling of awe and mystery here, as we can feel it through Mitch. The team begins to learn how long the Dalek has been on Earth. Mitch asks, "What is a Dalek?" And I love how Graham simplifies it as an alien psychopath. It's things like this that make me really like Graham. Back in the TARDIS, the Doctor realizes that the Dalek is controlling Lynn. She mentions that she used to think like a Dalek long ago. Now, I'm not sure which previous incarnation she's referring to. She could be referring to the 12th Doctor when he was inside an actual Dalek. It could be the 9th Doctor, since that Dalek said the Doctor makes a good Dalek. It could also be a reference to the War Doctor that had to think like a Dalek in order to fight them in the Time War. In whatever case, I thought it was a nice callback. We see here that the Dalek has the ability to blow the systems on the TARDIS. Some people are saying this is crap, but I say, why not? Even the Doctor was surprised that it happened. At least she explains that the reason was that this Dalek was a reconnaissance scout that has abilities that are far more than the regular soldier. We've never heard of them before, so I thought this was a nice development to an old enemy. It makes sense that they would have scouts of some kind, and it explains why this one was alone and is just as deadly without his metal shell. The Dalek breaks into MDZ, which stores all kinds of artifacts. I found it interesting that the laser weapons of a previous Dalek on Earth were here. I didn't find it unbelievable. In fact, it made me think that it was a piece blown off of the one that the Ninth Doctor encountered. The Doctor finds a way to communicate with the Dalek and doubts that he can do anything to harm humanity at this point. We hear the Dalek laugh. Many people have a problem with this, but again, I say, why the heck not? I thought this was great, and this can be explained as a trait of a recon scout since we've never heard of them before. Even the Doctor was a bit stunned because she hadn't heard it before. See? It's new for us and the Doctor. Again, for those people who can't see past the Doctor's cheerful attitude, here you go. She doesn't like being laughed at, and she tells the Dalek to do it again in her face. She threatens the Dalek. Reminds me of those bullies in school that dare you to laugh in their face before they knock your block off. I like how Graham was irritated that he was left behind. Another character trait that I like about him. He wants to be at the Doctor's side, and he believes in her cause. It does give him time to have a chat with Ryan's dad, though. I love how the Dalek can still use this as a hand weapon without the typical casing we've always known. Another emotion for all the naysayers. The Doctor shows that she is panicked. Nothing bright and cheerful here. I still think Jodie Whittaker is doing a fantastic job. People complain about UNIT being shut down to budget cuts. Again, why the heck not? Things like this happen. At least UNIT was even acknowledged. I thought this was a nice touch that calls back to classic Doctor Who and even to Kate Stewart, who was in charge of UNIT from the revived era. Oops, surprise, another emotion. The Doctor is, at this point, pretty pissed because UNIT was suspended. She's about as mad as the fans who are even complaining about this show. Another great development scene for both Graham and Ryan's dad as he pulls out a bunch of memories that Grace saved about her son. We see the Dalek exterminate the first human from this time period with his weapon. Not only does this effect stay true to what we've seen in previous Doctor Who episodes, but somehow this seems even more deadlier. The camera angle and the way this effect is enhanced has something to do with it, I think. I really liked how this was done here. The Dalek builds his new body with spare parts. Another great scene. I think this shows a nice balance back to when the 13th Doctor built her own sonic screwdriver from spare parts. Again, I see nothing wrong with this. It shows that this Dalek is unstoppable. The team arrived to the location of the Dalek. I love this Kodak moment. Makes a great screenshot. The Doctor learns that the Dalek has his deadly weapon. She looks pretty scared at this point, and she even says that her companions don't have to come with her. She really shows that she cares for their safety. Oh, look! Another emotion that this Doctor has. Surprise, surprise. The team learns that the Dalek no longer controls Lynn, but it's still loose. This scene where Ryan pulls out a metal bar in order to defend himself reminds me of when the 7th Doctor's companion, Ace, beat a Dalek with a baseball bat. The companions are sent back to the TARDIS, and the Doctor encounters the reborn Dalek. Damn, I love this new look. It's very rustic, and it looks like a war machine. It also no longer has that plunger. I know it was iconic, but it was nice to see something new. I'm sure if it wanted to, it could have found a plunger somewhere. The Doctor confronts the Dalek and blocks its laser function with her sonic. She explains that she isn't human and the scanner. I'm not positive, but I think this is the first time we see where the two hearts of a Time Lord are. I also think this is a special nod to Doctor Who fans who know that a Time Lord has two hearts. Something a new fan to the 13th Doctor wouldn't know. The Doctor reveals her identity, and the Dalek manages to short out the sonic screwdriver, another thing I don't have a problem with, and then he escapes to start his conquest. Here we see the rockets underneath. We've seen this before, but not quite like this. This is a nice look. Okay, I'll admit that this looks a bit silly. I think they could have chosen a better camera angle than this. It just looks odd the way it flies away. Even though we've seen stuff like this before, I would have liked to have seen something more dramatic like what we saw when the Dalek was taking off a moment ago. This was a funny moment when the doctor prescribes Lynn medication, just like a doctor, with instructions not to take it with alcohol or she'll grow an extra head. She then goes on and refers to an embarrassing party where apparently that happened. I love this dramatic camera angle. I can't imagine why people are complaining about this new Doctor Who series. The imagery is fantastic. The Doctor comes to pick up Graham after he calls her and says that she better pick him up. Ryan's dad also goes with them, which sets up some nice moments with him and Ryan. I love this shot. Nice postcard. The Dalek invades airspace and is about to be shot at by the military. Of course, it doesn't do them any good. Now, there are people actually complaining about the Dalek having missiles. Seriously? This is freaking badass right here. I always wondered what those silly domes on the casing were for, so it's nice to see this. Imagine if a Dalek was being attacked from all sides. All it would have to do is shoot missiles from all directions. Assuming it set itself up that way. I mean, it's a freaking tank, for crying out loud. Even the Doctor said that. This Dalek is not to be messed with. I love the intimidating camera angle here. And man, that laser looks so much more deadlier than what we've seen before. Okay, this Dalek is on the warpath. The ultimate danger of the universe. Imagine an army of these attacking a planet. No wonder they are the worst threat the Doctor has ever known. Also, this is another badass scene when that Dalek is just shooting all over the place very, very quickly. You gotta love how one of our tanks goes up against a Dalek tank. Yeah, no match. By the way, I watched one YouTuber recount how many white men were killed as if this is some type of left agenda. Are you serious? I mean, you're really stretching it. How many war movies have we seen where plenty of white people were killed? Nobody thought it was an agenda then, so why now? Give me a flippin' break. We learn what the ancient armies did to defeat the Dalek the first time. Again, people complain how this was possible if our modern military couldn't stop it. Remember Lord of the Rings? A huge army from all sides? Eventually there's gonna be people that are gonna break through the Dalek's defenses. Yes, many of them will die, but they're still gonna break through. The Dalek is heading for the biggest communications building of the country to signal the Dalek fleet. This is what's replaced the plunger arm. It's a claw with an internal device that reminds me of what R2-D2 in Star Wars uses to access computer systems. Again, this is a nice new take on the Dalek. This is a great funny scene where the Dalek has shut down all internet, Wi-Fi, and phone towers. This family can't use their devices and don't know what to do. Their mom says, "Oh, well, we'll just have to have a conversation with each other." Which the kids say, "What?" Because who actually talks to each other face to face these days? I mean, come on, people are always depending on their electronic devices and are always on them. I can't even believe people are complaining about this scene and stating that it would have been better on a Christmas episode. I mean, come on, this works just fine on New Year's Day. The final confrontation. Another great Kodak moment of the Doctor's team. And I love the little jab at the people complaining that the Doctor's too nice. The 13th Doctor gives the Dalek a final warning to back off because she's being really, really nice. Like I said before, the armies came at the Dalek from all sides to take it down. It only takes a few to break through the Dalek's defenses. If the Doctor and her team can do it, then I'm pretty sure huge armies attacking it from all sides can too. Of course, people are complaining that they took the Dalek down with a microwave. It's not like they opened the microwave and got the Dalek in it, for crying out loud. They took it apart and used its components with the Doctor's manipulations and then put it onto the Dalek shell. She basically built her own weapon out of spare parts. I see nothing wrong here. But it's not over yet. As I said before, this Dalek shows just how dangerous it is. It took over Ryan's dad. So yeah, Microwave really didn't kill the Dalek. Just saying. The Dalek takes the team and the TARDIS hostage. He demands to be taken to the fleet, and the Doctor tricks him by taking the TARDIS to his sun going supernova. Now here, I thought we were going to lose Ryan's dad. Ryan finally shows how much he loves his dad too and forgives him. Although losing him would have built Ryan's character, I'm just as glad that we didn't lose him. I think it would be great to see just Ryan and his dad as companions in Jodie's third series as the Doctor. I think having a father-son dynamic would be great and different, something we haven't seen before. I love the visual here. There's a nice dynamic, light and dark, temperature, and the balance of the two hands reaching out to grab each other. Ryan does bring up his dyspraxia again, for all of you who say they barely bring up his disability. I'd say his adrenaline and strong emotion for his dad allowed him to overcome that disability. Once again, another awesome visual. The team celebrate their victory, and I love how the Doctor is inviting Ryan's dad to come along. As much as I wanted to see him join, I knew that wasn't going to happen. But that's okay, because maybe we'll see him again in the future, and perhaps he will join. Remember Donna Noble's dad? He did eventually go with the 10th Doctor. Another great scene. You've got symmetry, balance, the TARDIS is in the center and is the primary focus. But do you notice something else here? The arms of Lynn and Mitch join together to form a V for victory. I hate to disappoint folks that didn't like this episode. I mean, I thought it was incredibly awesome. Well filmed, beautiful looking, and it did a great job of reviving an old enemy. This, to me, was as incredible as the first Dalek episode with the 9th Doctor. I had those same feelings of excitement. I don't see any silly liberal agenda with this special. It was just a fun roller coaster ride. All right, so there you go. That is my overview and review of the New Year's Day special of Doctor Who Resolution. Just in closing thoughts, again, I thought it was fantastic. I thought it gave me the same feeling with this one Dalek as it did with the 9th Doctor, with the episode The Dalek, when there was just one. It really felt like a callback to that, but in the same manner, it had a whole new feel and direction with it as well. Quite frankly, the way that this was handled with the Dalek, I would love to see more. I really would. But putting that aside, I'm glad that this was saved for the special. It made it that much more special. So hopefully, when another special comes around, hopefully they'll do another New Year's Day special for 2020 before they get into Series 12. But I'm hoping that Chris Chibnall will bring back another classic villain, and we know who the next villain that should be brought back is, right? The Cybermen. Come on, the Daleks and the Cybermen. Those are like the two biggest foes that have shown up with all of the Doctors. So yeah, we got to have the Cybermen. Now, as far as the Master or Missy, whichever one it's going to be, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. At least not yet. Definitely got to see the Cybermen. So, hey, BBC, Chris Chibnall, if you're not watching this, which I'm sure you're not, Cybermen, all right? Bring the Cybermen back. Bring it back for a New Year's Day special. That will get us all pumped up and ready to go for Series 12. All right. Folks, that's all I got. Plenty more videos out there on this Shep Rambles series, as well as this channel of Killer Television. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on another rambling video.